Every week, I'll play Lou for a second, where our friend Brent comes in. Anyway, Roske on politics this week. Obviously, it's all about the debates. There's the Shield, which is not the shield of a famous cartoon character. No, it's not at all. So last night, the debates, holy buckets. How much of it did you see? I
only saw like the last hour or so. So I got it when they were tired and then became all friends. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I came in and I'm like, this isn't a debate. They're all being like, that's a great idea. I'm going to use that. Shake my hand, give me a high five.
So Reagan Library is where it was, Simi Valley, California. I mentioned it earlier. If you haven't been to the Reagan Library, check it out. A lot of Californians I know, well, I've never been there. Why would I go? I don't care if you're the most progressive Democrat in the world. You should go. It's a beautiful space. You get to go on Air Force One, Marine One, the rolling hills. You'll see 15 feet of the Berlin Wall, but that's where it was at. Think about the day of these candidates, though. They had to be there, let's call it from 2 p.m. on, and then they call it the undercard debate happened. But between the undercard and what they were calling the main event, which I think is a bit disrespectful, but whatever, between those two, they brought out all the candidates to do a group photo. What's interesting about campaign strategy, so Lindsey Graham and Senator Graham and Governor Bobby Jindal were still in what they call the spin room, which is the room backstage, giving interviews to reporters. Now, if you would have seen this footage, it was amazing. I've been involved in a little bit of that in Iowa, but literally it was candidates surrounded by just people everywhere. Layers. And you saw people like leaning in, arm. It was just, it was a little nutty. Now, quick shout out to Senator Lindsey Graham. They just sent me an email. I'll be with him tomorrow night because as far as the undercard debate goes, Governor Jindal and Lindsey Graham really made good shows is what they're saying. And Lindsey Graham especially, people ask me, who's your favorite interviewer? Because everyone now, except for Chris Christie, everybody running for president has been on my show. At least once, most of them several times. Everyone says, who's your favorite interview? I said, there's reasons for everybody, but as far as just plain old interesting person to talk to, it's always Lindsey Graham.
I heard him on the radio, and he was great.
It's always Lindsey Graham. He's usually having a great time with it. He's having a ball, but very smart on a lot of different things. And, you know, people watching, you have to agree with everything that his policies. But as far as interesting interview and performance last night, he was great. And looking forward to seeing him tomorrow night. He's coming into Iowa, along with other Republicans. They're having a big event on Saturday, so I'll be there as well. But let's talk about the debate. Last night, you had a lot of people. You had 4 at the it aired here in Iowa starting at 5 o'clock. You had 4 of them, Pataki, Santorum, Jindal, and Graham, what we just spoke about. The main event that CNN called it 11. This is Washington Post this morning and National Public Radio. They went through and they divided how much time each candidate got.
Oh, geez.
At the top end of the spectrum. Now, this was a 3-hour event, and I sat down at 5 o'clock and I didn't realize it was going to be that long. I sat up at 10:15. I watched all the commercials. Woo! So over that 3 hours of what they called the main event debate, Donald Trump. Well, let's put it this way: Scott Walker got 8 minutes, right?
Okay.
How much do you think Donald Trump got?
Half hour.
All right, 45.
Now, this is how much he was on camera speaking. But I think the real stat here should be how many times was he mentioned. Now, Joe Scarborough, as I was watching, a bunch of us were tweeting, Joe Scarborough sent out a tweet, it's all Trump. Now, he might not have been speaking, but they would ask another candidate, well, Donald Trump said this. Do you think Donald Trump should have said that? I mean, it was amazing. Now, I understand he's leading, and he's leading by a lot. But the fact of the matter is these are real candidates for president, sitting governors, former senators, sitting senators. So anyway, Scott Walker received 8 minutes of screen time, call it. Donald Trump, 18 minutes. So a full 10 minutes more. Now, that's the spectrum. That's the lowest and the highest amount of time received. Rand Paul, toward the bottom, 10 minutes. I was with Rand Paul at the Cyhawks game in Ames, and he talked about his strategy for last night. I want to show a quick clip of that clip of Rand Paul and I from this week. Senator Rand Paul, welcome to Iowa and what appears to be thousands of people. Are you having a good time so far?
Absolutely. So far, Iowa fans have offered me beer. Iowa State fans have offered me beer. And there are no UK fans here. There are no University of Kentucky fans, not one. I got my blue on rooting for UK, but I guess I don't have anybody to root for today.
So the Iowa caucus is coming up just a few months away. What do you think the Iowa voter needs to know about you that sets you apart from the other candidates?
That I'll defend your right to be left alone. One of the primary rights that we are guaranteed is the right to privacy. And I don't think many Republicans or Democrats among the field of candidates running for the presidency, other than myself, will really defend your right to be left alone. I think what President Obama did, collecting all of our phone records, was a big mistake. It was unconstitutional, and I'll stand up for every individual American's right to be left alone.
Now talk about Iowa as far as a strategy with your campaign. Are we going to be seeing a lot of you this upcoming months?
Well, we were here last night at Iowa State, and we had over 600 kids. We've organized 300 campuses around the country. We've organized 15 college campuses just in Iowa. We think that the youth vote is ours for the taking. We plan on really organizing and spending a lot of effort getting college campuses together so we can get them out to vote in the caucus.
Second debate's coming up Wednesday. What's your strategy? What do you think's going to happen?
I think I went a little bit easy on Donald Trump, so I'm telling him now, you're a fake conservative, and we're going to make sure everybody in America knows, Donald Trump, you're a fake.
Final question, the Iran nuclear deal. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it was a bad deal because we didn't retain enough leverage. If the Iranians choose not to comply, what do we have left as leverage to try to get them to comply? So I would have done it differently. I do believe in negotiations, but I would negotiate from a position of strength like Reagan did.
Rand Paul, thanks for chatting.
You're gonna see more with Rand Paul this Sunday on Roske on Politics. You're also going to see Mark Everson, who did not participate in the debates last night, but he and I went to an iCubs game. A Republican candidate for president sat in your chair one day. We had him on the show here, and we went to an iCubs game and we chatted the whole game. Also, you're going to see State Senator Jeff Danielson, who is one of the Iowa reps for a fantastic organization called No Labels. They call themselves the Problem Solvers. They're now the third largest caucus, but behind Republicans and Democrats in the House and in Senate, and they try to work across the aisle. They don't consider themselves moderates, but they work on solving problems. All that and more on Roske on Politics this weekend. Folks, I had so many notes written down, but I talk about other things. So the debate, it was interesting. They say Carly won. She was the big winner of the big one. And Rand Paul, according to Mark Halperin, he gave him one of the lower scores. But anyway, the debate was one of the most interesting, I think probably the most interesting presidential debate I've ever seen.
Really?
Yeah. If you compare it, again, we talked earlier, remember the VP debate? There weren't that kind of fireworks before. So anyway, that's our wrap up today.
You can see more with Roske on Politics this weekend at what time?
It airs on this channel at 11:30. It airs on a couple other channels on Sunday as well.
Here you go. We'll be back to finish up with Great Day this morning, September 17th, by talking about some great things that are happening in Central Iowa. We'll be right back.